By the end of this workshop, you will understand the scientific basis for the psychological benefits of photography, and you'll be able to identify ways in which photography can enhance your personal growth, well-being, and long-term success. What is reality? Famous physicist John Wheeler, he's the one who termed the term black hole. He described reality as it is made of information, and information which is created by observation. Reality is subjective and it requires choice. When you're doing photography, you get to play with reality. You get to control your own reality. And this is kind of the basis of the entire workshop. Which one of those photos is more real? This is, again, kind of a rhetorical question. They're both the same photo. They're just different perspectives. It all depends on what you're focused on, what you're looking at, and what you want to see in a photo. The same principle applies to many aspects in reality, and we're going to cover them in a second. Can you trust your eyes to tell you what is real and what is not real? You cannot really trust your eyes. All these balls are exactly the same color. This is playing on the downfalls of how your brain perceives reality, and it changes the color of each ball based on the surroundings. Again, this is a nice photo to show also how reality is very subjective. Reality simply is what you perceive. It's not the past, it's not the future. The future and the past are simply projections of your own memory and your own brain. Reality is happening right now. Being a photographer requires you to become more mindful of your reality, mindful of what's present in the moment. When you guys were taking photos, you were forced to pay attention to what you're doing. And a lot of good photographers know this. Focus is one of the most important things in photography, because you have to be present and aware of what you're taking a photo of, why you're taking a photo of it, what's the best framing, and all these things. Photography trains you to see what's in front of you instead of being lost in the past or in the future. 40% of the time, you are wandering about either the past or the future. That's almost half the time of your whole life. You are not actually in reality. You're somewhere else. You're not present. Numerous studies have shown that individuals' disposition to remain present has been linked to many health benefits. Lower levels of stress have been perceived when you're in the present. You're less anxious, you're less depressed, and you have an overall improved sense of well-being just by becoming more present. You have overall a higher life satisfaction. You have increased patience, increased optimism, higher self-esteem, less burnout, and better sleep. It also helps your mental health, learning to find beauty in nature. And taking photos, you are learning to become more aware of what's actually in front of you and what's also beautiful, which trains the mind to become more grateful. Meditation, which is also the act of becoming in the moment, the practice of trying to become more present. Being present also has a lot of benefits to improving your actual cognition, your mental abilities to perform tasks. In photography, what you're doing essentially is you're meditating. When you're taking a photo, you're present enough to focus on what's happening in front of you. You might not be focused on your breath, but you're using the camera instead of your breath to be anchored down. There's a lot of photographers who will explain the feeling of taking photos as kind of a meditation experience, or they get in a state of flow where they forget about everything and they enjoy it thoroughly. It's heavily related to the fact that you're becoming more present and you're focused on what's in front of you at the moment. And that also improves your attention, your memory, your executive functions, and your processing speeds. It also improves and increases your gray matter. It's an important part of the brain that declines with age that can be even improved with just being more present. Mindfulness also impacts your attention span, your concentration, your memory, as well as promoting creativity. You can see it's kind of like a positive feedback loop. Mindfulness also helps your emotional intelligence. It improves how you interact with people. I'm sure some of you know that interacting with people is good for you. If you're not being mindful and you're just taking photos of other people, you learn to capture people's essence. You learn to connect with people on a deeper level. If any of you are portrait photographers, you know that you have to find someone's essence and kind of go through their ego to be able to fully capture who they are. And that is a process of connection, and it helps you grow in many ways. Photography can help you connect with others and understand others in a deeper way. Whenever you expand your connections with others, your own self grows equally. Compassion is one of the greatest sources of energy. Some of you might have experienced this personally. When you're helping someone else, you always have solutions. But when you try to help yourself, you might not be that eager to help yourself. But when you help others, you always do that. Yeah, that's true right there. Compassionate people tend to have deeper connections with others, and they have more friends, and they are more forgiving, and they have a stronger sense of purpose in life. Compassionate people also tend to be happier, healthier, and they seem to be more self-confident, less self-critical, and more resilient. Leading researchers in positive psychology suggest that connecting with others in a meaningful way helps us enjoy life more and enjoy better mental and physical health. And it also speeds up recovery from disease. People who are compassionate, they heal faster. Research by Stephanie Brown at Stony Brook University has shown that it may even lengthen our lifespan. In this way, photography can literally make you live longer. Photography helps you connect with others on a deeper level, and it increases your level of compassion. When you connect with people on that level, you become more compassionate because you can relate to their problems more, and you're also more aware of the problems that other people are going through. Photography can help you become more positive. They've done some studies where they gathered some people who claim to be lucky and some people who claim to be unlucky. What they found, after they gave them this magazine and they told them to count the number of photos in the magazine, the people who are lucky always found one of the photos said, "Here's the answer, there's 24 photos, show this to your researcher." The people who are unlucky, they never found that. In fact, they put another piece of information saying, if you show this to the researcher right now, they will give you $200. And they still did not see it. People who believe to be unlucky, they control their luck. Their brain refuses to see things that help them think that they are lucky. There's something called the reticular activating system in the brain. We're going to cover that in a little bit. But that system is responsible for what you process from your outside world. We're given millions of pieces of information per second, and this system is responsible for filtering out the things that are not important for your reality. If something is in your reality, it absorbs it. If it's outside your reality, it throws it away. If you believe you're lucky, that's what's happening. This is really interesting because it proves that you can control what you see in the world and you can control your own reality. And the news, the media, entertainment, internet, all of it has been showing you more and more horrible news. Some of it has been very tragic. It's very what I call clickbaitful, where you are interested in knowing because that's how they make money. We're constantly given horrible information that seems concerning, and it is concerning, but it skews our brain's ratio in terms of what's good and bad. We now think that the ratio of bad is much more high than the good, which is not true. So when you become more mindful, more present, and you practice photography and finding the positive, you can perhaps start fixing that. Especially in our culture where we are specialized in complaining. We're very good at this because you don't want to give the eye. Most people live better than King Henry VIII. Think about the plumbing situation they had back then. Think about how they traveled. Think about their entertainment. They had like puppets and they had like a clown in the castle. That was their source of entertainment. The fact is, most people live better than kings in the past, yet we still think our lives are miserable or horrible. And why is that? Because our perception of the good and bad is severely skewed. I am only able to predict 10% of your long-term happiness and well-being based on external factors. So if I know everything that's going on in your life externally, I can only predict 10% of your long-term happiness and well-being. 90% of that is based on how you perceive the world. 90% of your long-term happiness is based on how your brain processes the world around you. And if you change it, you change your actual reality. Photography helps you control your reality. It's not necessarily that reality is what shapes us, but it's our lens, how we view the world, is what shapes our reality. Photography is just a mere tool that we could use to shape our reality. Photography allows us to control that reticular activating system and refine our vision and quite literally change our perception of our existence. Training your reticular activating system to locate and focus on the positive as well as becoming more present. It helps in two ways. You can use it to focus on what's beautiful. Perhaps it's something small, perhaps it's a leaf, perhaps it's a small animal, a bug, a person. And it also helps you become more present. So you're more focused and you're more aware of what's going in your brain. You can take control of your reticular activating system by becoming more present and becoming more mindful. This will also help you lead a more successful life. How many people agree with this statement? If I work hard, then I'll be successful, then I'll be happier. Does anyone agree? Good, that's normal. Most people believe that because this is what's being taught in education and every single aspect of life. But what it's been proven that this formula is actually broken and scientifically backwards. Photography can help us reverse this scientifically backwards formula, and I'll explain how. If happiness is on the other side of success, your brain literally never gets there. You're always actively putting your happiness, self-satisfaction, behind success. You never get to it because you're always pushing your horizon of success. When the brain is more positive, the brain is better than negative, neutral, or stressed. More intelligence, more creativity, more energy. You're 31% more productive, 37% better at sales. And doctors are 19% faster and more accurate when they're positive. And you're more resilient and you're less likely to burn out. This is what they call the happiness advantage. When people are more positive, they actually perform better, and that's when they become more successful. Dopamine is released when you're positive, and it doesn't only make you more happy, but it activates all the learning centers in the brain. There's a story about two shoe salesmen who go to Africa, in a country where they didn't wear shoes. One of the salesmen, he sees people not wearing shoes and he says, "This situation is completely helpless. They don't even wear shoes here. How can I sell shoes?" The other one, he says, "This is perfect. They don't even wear shoes here. I can introduce shoes to them." So again, this is the same reality, but it's all depending on your perception of what's going on. When you're more positive, you become more successful in every aspect in your life. Photography teaches us to become more positive and control our reality. When you bring aspects that you previously ignored by your reticular activating system, you become more aware of your reality. You become more aware of what's going on. There's a lot of studies that show how the language we speak affects how we view the world. So when you speak the language of light, the language of here, you become better at expressing that as well as being more aware of it. You'll also understand how truly unique you are and how much power you have to potentially impact the entire universe. When you start learning how much you can influence others with positivity, you're not only causing a ripple of positivity and mindfulness, but you're creating a real revolution. Thank you.